Hi everybody, this is Professor Varsha Jain from MICA India, and I hope you all might be doing well. Today we are going to discuss how brands can manage digital natives and how the brands can actually leverage the strengths that the digital natives have, because the way they behave, the way they shop, the way they think, the way they actually work on their services, what they expect, and accordingly, the brands have to deliver. So let's discuss how brands can leverage those kind of behavior of the digital natives. So I have developed a framework which is known as a slice framework, which means that all the brands, if they have to manage the digital natives, especially the digital natives are quite impatient. So in order to manage that particular behavior, if they work on the slice framework, that would really help. What does that mean? It means that S stands for spontaneous. So the brands have to be very spontaneous because digital natives cannot wait, and they want quick response from the brands. L stands for lively. Lively means they have to be very energetic and lively along with the digital natives, because they do not like the brands that are very mundane and boring, and they do not have the enthusiasm in those approaches. Brands have to be interactive and informative. They always have to be interactive, and I always say, and from our research also, we have come across through different projects that we have undertaken, that digital natives always want the brands to be very interactive. They want the brands to be like their friends. And when you are a friend, you probably have to interact on continuous basis, understand what the friend needs. That's how digital natives expect brands to be. And they have to be informative, so always they have to provide the information to them, and those information have to be very contextual, because as the context changes, the kind of information which the digital natives are looking for may be different. For example, if they are in a mall, then they are looking for a particular set of information, so the brands have to track the behavior. On the basis of their behavior and geo-targeting, probably they would be able to provide them the relevant information. But if they are at home and they are looking for a certain kind of information, then probably it has to be contextualized to what they are looking for. Informative does not mean that the brands have to provide a lot of information to digital natives. That may also cause irritation to them, and they may not like that particular brand. Then the next C stands for control. So probably digital natives would like to control the content, not the brand, because they want that the control has to be given to them and not to the brands, because they feel more comfortable while controlling it, and they feel happy about that particular brand. And the last point is about the E, which is the experience. So what does that mean? Experience is really critical. Experience does not mean that when the digital natives are going to buy the brands and they are going to gain the experience. Experience starts from the first interaction which they have with the brands, which is primarily through the digital gadgets and digital platforms. And then that experience have to be expedited. The experience have to be enhanced at all the level of interactions that the digital natives are having with the brands. And it is not about the push strategy, but it's always about knowing the consumer very well at all the instances, helping the digital natives whenever they are stuck, wherever they are stuck. So is there any example? So here is an example for you, which is the Netflix. And Netflix does it very well, and it applies all the parameters of the slice framework, which I have just introduced, because they are spontaneous, they're very lively, they keep interacting with the digital natives, they're quite informative, and information is quite spaced out in such a way so that the digital natives get the information what they're looking for. The control is always in the hand of digital natives, and the experience is always about the entertainment in case of Netflix, and digital natives really like that particular brand. So the next point is about how brands can create value for digital natives. This is quite critical because digital natives always like those brands that add a lot of value in their lifestyle, in their life. So here is another strategies. There are four strategies which I'm going to introduce here. One is develop the dimensions that the industry have never provided. So those dimensions have to be developed by the brands which are not available by the industry to have a cutting edge and to provide the value to the digital natives. Second point is about elevate the dimensions about the industry. So if you compare it with the industry, it could be food industry, it could be retail, it could be any industry. You have to elevate your standards of the brands, and it should be above the industry standards. Then remove the dimensions which are not required. I mean, if you're going to eliminate those steps probably in order to do the online shopping, which is not adding value to the digital natives, that is much appreciated by these digital natives. And then the fourth point is about decreasing the dimensions which are of low quality, which doesn't match even with the industry standards. There's no point keeping those dimensions because people, and especially the digital natives, may not like it because they're very conscious about the quality. And what are those brands? So I'm citing some examples from India. That is about Swiggy, it could be Zomato, it could be Food Panda, and the global brands also like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They also, work on these parameters, and that's how they create value in terms of digital natives' behavior, and they add a lot of value in their lifestyle and their life. So the third point, which I'm going to discuss now, is how to satisfy digital natives in terms of the sales services. This is quite challenging because digital natives always keep the brands on toes. I mean, you can't fluctuate. They are really, they want the brands to be on spot, and whatever they want, it has to be delivered quickly because they can't wait. But always brands can work on different strategies, and here is another framework which I'm introducing, which is called as a LEAP framework. It means that you need to understand the lifestyle of the digital native, especially in the context of the product usage, the consumption pattern. E stands for engage proactively. You don't wait for them to send you a query, but you actually, as a brand, engage and try to help them. That is really very critical for digital natives. A stands for automate. You can automate through chatbots, through AI, and all the new technology which is there. And a lot of brands are working in that space, like Amazon, like Nika, and other brands who are actually automated the services and helping the consumers, and then provide human connections. This is very critical because if you can use the technology as the brands, which is quite critical, but simultaneously we cannot lose out the human connection part because digital natives are not completely behaving like robots. They love technology, but they also like human connections and interventions at different spots. So maybe you're automating the calls, but probably if there is a human interaction in the entire sales journey, probably that is more appreciated than the entire automated process which the brands are using. The next point is about how the tradition. So we discussed about the different eras and how the brands can work. Now, how the traditional brands can actually provide the online experience to the digital natives. So when the traditional brands like Unilever or maybe Hindustan Liver or maybe PNG or all these companies, they want to provide the online experience, they have to transform everything digitally. And with the digital transformation, they have to provide end-to-end services which is digitized. They have to refine their marketing approaches, and here I'm introducing the 5C model, which is they have to digitize the the processes for consumers. They have to customize the content for the consumers. They have to connect with them digitally. They have to develop the community. This is very important and critical for digital natives, to develop the community, and the content has to be relevant. And this is how, if the brands, the traditional brands work with the digital natives, they really appreciate, because you already have a goodwill, you already have developed your strengths in the market, and the digital natives have trust in those brands. For example, if it is Birla, if it is Tata, they already trust those brands. And what they need to do is they need to use the 5C model, and they have to connect with the digital natives digitally. The third point, which I'm introducing, how to add value to the digital natives and the ad experience if you're the traditional brand, is the situational learning. So situational learnings is something which digital natives really like. For example, Kisan introduced the concept of Kisanpur, which is they are introducing all this digitized, content along with the digital natives, and that is where digital natives really like to learn even from the brand, to get educated from the brand, and that's how the brands can connect very easily with the digital natives. Now at the end, I'm introducing a very important framework, and which has emerged from how do you engage with digital natives, because this is very critical for the brands to engage with them. So I'm introducing a 2x2 matrix here, which is about the human connect and the media and technology. As I mentioned earlier, that media connect is very important and it has to be digitized, but it has to have the human interactions. So probably what people are looking for is, if you are high on technology and low on human connect, it's more like an ATM, automated machines and all of that, which is a self-service which you can provide. And if it is a human connect and the technology is low, probably that was the earlier scenario which was there for the offline retail. What I'm emphasizing more is about high on technology and high on human connection, which is the cyber-human systems, which are very important for the digital natives and the brands to get connected together. And this can be introduced through the apps, through websites, through media presence which is there, and a lot of companies, they're using it. So this is something which is very critical. And then there are also certain companies which is the media technology is low and human connection is also low. They are basically the laggards, and these brands are very might find it very difficult to sustain, because technology is something which digital natives always want to get connected. So if the brands really want to get connected and engage with the digital natives, probably they have to be high on the human connection and the human interaction along with the technology which has been provided to them. And that's how the brands can connect with the digital natives. Thank you.